In Alpena is on something of a statistical plateau. Our membership rolls are pretty much flat. We had 2 new members added to our roster 2 weeks ago, but we also were offset by 2 funerals earlier in the year. We stay at an even 150 members. Now we're doing better than the shepherd in that flock in Jesus' parable, because he had only 100 sheep. We've got 150. No competition there. Our level of financial support is also on a plateau. Our 2020 stewardship goal that Jim McNeil just spoke about, which indicates how much money will be needed if we're going to have a balanced budget in next year. That number is $125,800. That's only a few dollars different from what we received this year in pledges to the general fund. So we hold steady in frugal fashion to the bottom line year after year. Now you know there's 2 ways to get off of a statistical plateau. One of them is to come down in numbers. The other one is to grow. I think we would all prefer to grow the church, not to shrink it any farther. Certainly there is at least one little lost sheep somewhere out there that we could invite. The task before us then, if we're not going to shrink, is how to find and attract people to the love and care of our local church. After all, as I've said many times in the past few weeks, it's in the local congregation where people are moved to follow Christ. It's where they are given counsel. It's where they are supported through their joys and sorrows. It's where they're led to a deeper understanding of life's meaning. It's a place where they're pointed towards service in the community. We have something to offer here in Alpena's First Church. Now, some of you have participated in the mission and ministry of this church for not only your lifetime, but actually within your family for a generation or 2 or more. And I say thank you to all of you. Thank you, and keep it up, and may God bless you all. You know, there are a lot of churches in Alpena for people who are seeking a spiritual home. And we're always glad when people decide to check out ours. But there's also thousands of people, many of them young, who do not go to any church in the Alpena area. They are what are called unchurched families. And that's who I want us to think about this morning. Yeah, no, it's not a happy thought. It's never been a high priority in this congregation to do anything to reach out to others beyond our active church members and those visitors who come to check us out from time to time. It's somewhat like the scribes and Pharisees who were questioning Jesus in the parable this morning. It's never been considered a measure of the health or the hope of our congregation to reach out to others who are not in the church, find them and bring them in. You see, we are more like the 99. We're doing fine. Thank you very much. We're the 99 who are here, safe and loved and held and cared for. We would like people to find us, of course we would, and for that reason we have been doing a lot of advertising these last few years. You've seen billboards, and I've noticed over the 6 years when I started putting up billboards, other churches now are putting up billboards too. I'm sure the billboard company's real happy with the innovation. Newspaper ads regularly, listing in the civic theater programs or in the senior citizen center publications. We're in the tourist maps and so forth. Because we're always happy to have new people come to join us in worship here. If they're looking for a church home, we could be it. Our members will be welcoming of them. It's just that we're not going to go out looking for them. Sorry, Jesus. We don't do that. There are other churches around us who spend a lot of time and energy getting their members to bring in new members. They call it witnessing. They call it getting people saved. They call it winning them to the kingdom. And some churches, like the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons, actually come around knocking at our doors 2 by 2. And frankly, such evangelical efforts turn me off. And since we don't want to be like them, we hesitate to even mention going to church to our friends, because we just don't want to be pushy. We don't want to be pushy about this God thing. We don't want to be pushy about the Jesus thing. We don't want to be pushy like they are. If going to church here is more like a personal habit and not really a passion, it's a faithful duty if you are in town, but it's not necessarily an essential part of your life, then you may have little enthusiasm for the idea of going out and finding people who are unchurched to come to worship here on Sunday mornings. It's an old saying that if you are not convinced of the importance of something, you're not going to convince someone else of its importance either. In fact, there may actually be some tension about how much time and attention and money should be spent trying to get other people involved in our church when we think our real job should be working with our members, the ones who pay the bills, right? The ones who run the church. This is who we're for. I mean, if I am the church and you are the church and we are the church together, all around the world, yes, we're the church together, then we have no obligation really to worry about the unchurched. We have enough on our plate, don't we, already? Enough to do already to provide programs for those people who are already our members, right? I mean, we were asked to make a dish to pass at the potluck, and maybe we forgot it at home, but at least we made it. The 99 who are not lost, the 99 who are here and willing to do our part to make it work. Isn't that what the minister's job is for? Isn't that what the members are here for? In fact, it may be that we have not thought about reaching out to outsiders very much because we are so busy trying to get people who are members of our church more involved just beyond Sunday morning worship. So we don't have time to be concerned about unchurched people until they choose to come on their own to visit us. I mean, if they attend worship, they will hear about the Monday morning Bible study. There's now a DVD discussion. The Tuesday afternoon Bible study at the McNeil's house. The Wednesday Serenity Bible study. And I see that some of our folks are here today from that. They'll hear about the Wacky Wednesday Kids Fun Club with Jeffrey Mindock. They'll hear about the Thursday morning theological conversations with Lee Copeland. They'll hear about the Thursday afternoon church history class with me, Cat's choir practice, Friday needle crafters. See, all those weekly groups primarily exist to serve our members, but they also can serve as opportunities for you to invite somebody who's not in our church to try us out. Join you in an educational activity. Join you at a fun activity. You don't have to insist that they start coming on Sunday morning to worship. That may be a follow-up. You know, from time to time we show movies. We bring in guest speakers. We're going to have a readers' theater evening just next week with a catered codfish dinner. We're hosting the Harvest Dinner potluck today. See, every one of these activities that's held within the walls of this church could serve as a side door for you to invite someone from outside the church to join you here. Now, 2 weeks ago, I spent 3 days at a retreat center near Petoskey with 20 clergy from the Lutheran, Anglican Episcopal, and Roman Catholic churches. It was a LARC retreat. And Bishop Kirby Untie from Seattle was our program presenter. He pointed out that our kinds of church, mainline liturgical denominations, tend to think that if we offer excellent worship services with great preaching and fine music, we will fill our houses of worship. That is, if we do worship well, they will come. And so the priest or the pastor spends a great deal of time in the work week preparing for that 1 hour on Sunday morning. We put almost all of our eggs in that one basket. And lo and behold, the unchurched people won't be there. They just don't do Sunday morning church, no matter how excellent it is. One group of non-church-going outsiders are those who have no religious preference at all. They're referred to as the nuns, not like in the habits of the Roman Catholics, but N-O-N-E, as in none of the above. When given a choice of their religious interests, none of the above. They don't think our church has anything to offer them. Some of them may simply be indifferent to religion altogether because they feel they're doing fine on their own. With a secular perspective, they have no interest in deeper spirituality or desire for community beyond their friends and family. A second group of skeptics are those who have tried church somewhere, or they followed a TV preacher, or they encountered a door-to-door evangelical group that persuaded them they should believe certain things and behave in certain ways in the name of Jesus. But then it became oppressive, or became expensive, or became toxic in some way. Perhaps the church turned out to be too authoritarian, couldn't let them be who they really were. Or perhaps it was too patriarchal, or too homophobic, or too exclusive toward others who differed from their doctrines, so that now they reject that church, and by doing so they reject Christianity. They reject God because of the church they encountered. Now, they may not know that an inclusive, progressive, egalitarian congregation like ours even exists. These are referred to as the dones, as in I tried it and I'm done with it. These people, the nuns and the dones, think they know what the church believes because of something someone else, others have told them, or someone has taught them, or has done to them in the name of Christ. They think they know what our church thinks because of what somebody else thinks. They will not come to a worship service and try out us unless someone they know, someone they respect, someone they trust, invites them to come and will sit with them. Here at First Church, we have felt that kind of rejection or lack of interest, not just